you, at this point, knowing everything that's transpired in the 20th century, give your life to a craft. In specific, a craft that doesn't really offer you much in the way of remuneration. I've been needlessly poor, as an example, for 40 years because I chose to do what I did. I'm often asked, well, would you do it over again? And sanity takes over again. Yes, I will do it. I have, by the way, found two people who wanted to make printing type. Can you imagine? And they actually bought foundries, and they're in the process of being taught. Yeah, I've taken a lot of heat from my colleagues. They said, "Oh, you've abandoned us. You've sold out." I'm supposed to stay to the last minute. It's like the mafia. You either buy your way out or you leave first. I thought I'd pass that by. Years ago, I guess it was '96, I wrote an article for the first volume of Sarah. It's called Hitchhiker's Guide to Letterpress in the 21st Century. So I'm here not to sell type, but maybe to keep selling letterpress. I'm asked, well, what is the future of type? Obviously, we have new processes now. We have computers. We have plastic type. Is there a place for lead type? And I think yes, even if it's only therapy for the demented. There are people that are enamored of the 19th century. They hold it up as a high watermark of design, function, and productivity. Unfortunately, we also live now in a green time. So all those wonderful wood engravings that show stacks belching black smoke and working hard to destroy our environment, which were a great selling point in those days, now not so much. I've had some interesting things to say about the business itself. You have at one time, it's really kind of a dichotomy. You have on one side an artistic roman, whether it's historic or whether you actually want type to print with, the way you would emulate or do a certain style of type in your typography. And then we have the avant-garde people. They use type too, but they use it as an adjunct, as a focus point of reference. And then we have people that are just victimized by this insidious malady. They are very romantic. They're also very productive. My wife is a psychiatrist, or fellows of discipline, and I suppose that's probably the only thing that saved our marriage. She tells me that people look for comfort. If you are uncomfortable with the present and you fear the future, the only safe place to go is the past. And I noticed that with myself and a lot of other people, colleagues. We revere the past. And I think it's a good thing that we do. I don't know if you're aware, but I think English is an endangered language. I think that there will be a necessity for brevity, for maybe consolidating things, but English is by and large a difficult language. It's a very difficult language to learn if you don't come to it naturally. I cut and recast my version of Gutenberg's type from his 42-line Bible, The Mind's Way. And I thought at once, here is one of the first typefaces, if not the first practical type. What possible use could it have in the present century? Well, it does have use. A number of people have bought fonts of it, and there was one particular font in Scripps College Press. It's used as a teaching tool. Kitty Marriott has an elective course that she teaches there, and she brings all the graphic arts students together, chooses, I think there's only room for maybe 24 students, and she has them take a line from the Bible. She picks the line at random. And she has them interpret what the Bible is saying, that little line. She has them pick out the individual characters. Now, this font contains over 264 characters, because in effect what you are printing with is a Germanified Latin, the patois of the 1400s. So there's a tremendous amount of tied letters, ligatures, abbreviations. I still don't know them all. I've never really decided I wanted to drop my mind that far. But the idea is that it is valid. It's being used in the 21st century. I think that's quite fine. Quite unusual. It's kind of ironic that the first font type should also be among the last to be cut, and is still a valued teaching tool. Not everyone, of course, needs to have a full font. I remember the late Dave Lerner told me, he says, "Theo, you've done us a disservice. Can you imagine the number of spurious Gutenberg Bible leaves that will now appear on eBay?" I miss Dave. He was quite a character. He said, "There's two geniuses in the room, one of which is speaking to you." He don't mention that the fellow that came in to empty the wastebasket was the other. I often wonder why people do what they do. I'm sitting here now with a lot of wonderful craftspeople, artists, and I thought to ask why we do this. Why be needlessly poor? You know, there's this commiseration, this wonderful, almost socialistic attitude toward things. But actually, I think it's making you mark. I think that we don't want to grandstand because most of us are conservative. But we like to leave something. We like to say that, yeah, I existed for a while on this planet, and even though I didn't sign it, somebody 200 years from now is going to look at my work and say, well, you did a pretty good job. Or, you get the message. There are hidden messages in what we do. So that's why I do it, I think, and that's, I think, why most of the people here do it. There is a value to contribution. It took me a long time to figure out what the contribution is in my case. But I like to think that I was a steward, and I was allowed to come in contact with this craft, and I didn't do it any harm. It didn't die in my hands, and I passed it on to someone else. The idea, I think, best expressed by my mentor, who taught me engraving at ETS, and his name was William Reagan. And I could see, as he taught me, the realization in him that he wasn't going to be the last scientist. He was not going to be the last person that could engrave matrices on a pencil. Someone else would be. And so it is. I pass it on to other people and to the next generation. That's my contribution. And again, there's a business side of things. And I'm not a very good businessman. But I have a certain amount of practicality. I'll give you an example. I had a patron one time, I won't mention who they are, they're a very large academic institution in Florida. And they approached me and wanted an enormous amount of type. At that time, to me, was enormous, $4,000 worth of time. And I was elated because at the time the phone call came in, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And I was so happy about it. I talked to some of my colleagues, and one of the colleagues I talked to was a supplier of graphic arts, and he said, "Oh my goodness, you can't possibly cast for them. They don't pay their bills." I thought, well, yeah, I have to pay my property taxes. I'm going to cast it anyway. But I had it done. I got the stuff all done, sent it out. Unfortunately, I failed to include the package that had 1 month went by, 2 months went by, 3 months went by. God, what's wrong? Oh, find the lowercase e's. I said, what? That's impossible. I said, I will look into it. So of course, I put the phone down and forgot about it for a week. Another phone call next week. Did you find those e's? We've got tuitions paid. We can't get this work done. I said, well, you know, by the way, I happened to find a package that was misdirected. It's been on the shelf all the time. I said, but do you know that you owe me a balance on this top over 120 days? We'll get the money to you the next day, overnight. I said, it's fine. The money comes, we'll send you the It's kind of like being practical. Jersey brings that out in people. This is called the soprano state. You can have anything you want. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've also changed my ideas about artistic things. I used to be very snobbish and very imperious. Oh, you're ordering too many pens of that? That's not good. Hi, Francis. Now, if it's the best in old style, I say, how many 100 pounds do you need?
I'm so glad you came.
By the time I figured it out, I had to retire. I hope you enjoy this. I've been asked to do this. I actually threatened to bring my trumpet, but Barbara said, no, you cannot play. You have to speak. And actually, this is kind of my swan song, because it's the last time I'm ever probably going to talk about graphic art subjects or type topics. So if you want to, you can ask me a question. There's this mysterious place called the Dale Field. I happen to keep it surrounded in mystery and intrigue. If you have any questions about me, I found Dale Field. Now's the time. Yes, as I expected, another one of those dry subjects. We generally fall asleep in the middle of the telephone call and stuff like that. But yes, we do continue working with Fritz. He's one of the chains, one of the links in the chain. You got to figure, what is the weak link when you change the letterpress? I mean, we've still got good ink, we've got good paper, metal. There are plenty of monotype shops. There are 1 or 2 founders in the world left. Some people do books on linotype. You know, you can do it with books as long as you get those little ligatures, you know, the ones that look like the TA and the CD. Yeah, you can still do good work with metal. And of course, there's plastic. There's nothing really wrong with plastic. I mean, if you're going to do a reprint, you got it made. But it doesn't, I think, have enough versatility. Because you can always take a type letter form apart, distribute it, and make another one. If you've got monotype and you have access to a monotype caster, you've got, in essence, alphabet soup. You do your 200, 300 impressions with your forms that are all done in composition, and then you dump it back in the pot and get another one. So it technically, except for the little bit of dross that you lose, it's a good green thing because you're constantly recycling. Gutenberg, by the way, was the first recycler. Lead doesn't go bad. Melt it down and cast it over again. Yes.
I'm Marcia Wilson. When you talked about Fritz, are you talking about a guy in Colorado named Fritz Klinker?
Klinky, yeah.
A Klinky? Oh, I called him up because I found his name on the internet, and I was trying to get my Vandercook proof press working so I could hog some space in the case there. And he answered the phone in like the middle of the night. For me, it was 7 p.m. or something. And he helped me, and he helped my boyfriend, and we fixed my press. And he didn't ask for any money. He just gave me his...
We almost lost him. He had bypass surgery.
Oh.
And I thought the world would be considerably less for that was because he's a fine fellow. As you say, he has this missionary urge to help.
And he sent me photographs, and he pointed to the things. I had to get these pins moving, and I had to use oil. I had to actually stand up to do this, which is hard for a chubby person. And I was very appreciative. Should I send him my rollers to get recovered?
He's got a good staff, and he has everything under the roof of a letterpress.
My other question had to do with your Gutenberg. You said somebody had people pick one line from the Bible at random. I didn't get that anecdote correctly because I want to do that. I just think that's so cool. What did you do? You had people pick one line of the Bible and then they said it in type or something?
There was a whole section on it. It was called Beorum.
B what?
Beorum. It just happens to be the Latin word that's on that page. See, it's in columns. She took one column and did it, and it was done as a keepsake book, and it's been translated. And it has a reproduction of the original page, and then it has another page printed from my type. By the way, one of my nicknames at ATF was the Baker. I started out as the other guy. You know, who let the other guy do that? I was the last person hired, so you can imagine there are always people with the hair colored and showed up. And my last applicant there was called the Faker because they couldn't figure out why I was there. I never asked them for raises, never complained about any job they gave me, never got involved in politics, so I was used as a weapon between management and the rank and file. By the way, I wrote a book about that. I have a couple of copies with me. I like to proselytize too. I sell them for cost. It's called The Fall of ATF. I don't know if you're familiar.
How much is it?
It came in at $35. It's a hardbound, Jerry Kelly designed book with great end papers on good paper.
And fabulous reading.
Yeah, occasionally I can hear faint shuffling. It comes in over the horizon. Someone's found my book and sent a little ad. I've dispelled a lot of notions about ATF. I think it was this august university-like place. And it really was a sweatshop. Quite a terrible place. If you did not want to be there, it could even be hell on earth. But I wanted to be there. I would annoy them, you know, like I'd go up to them and I'd say, "Lowell, what are you casting today?" "Little square things. Get out of my aisle." You're bringing memories back to me. My first day there, my first week, I was learning to do kerning on machines. I had no kerning knife. None. You're supposed to have few anyway. So the first person I talked to, who I got friendly with, he says, "Oh, go and see so-and-so over there. He'll give you what you need. By the way, you need a number 10 top kerning knife. Just tell him." So this kind of was like a scene. You know that box of oatmeal? That scene from Oliver Twist is where he comes to the guy and says, "Please, can I have some more?" It was like that. I walked into this fellow's aisle, which was, for all intents and purposes, his business office. If you didn't have business there, that was his territory. You stayed clear. I said, "Edward wanted me to ask you to borrow a finishing knife, 10-degree top knife." "Oh, yeah? He told you to come here?" "Well, yeah." "You stand right there." And I stood at the end of the aisle, and he went and rummaged around in his stuff. He didn't hand me the knife. He threw it on the floor. He said, "There, that's yours." And I watched him closely because I thought he might step on my fingers when I tried to pick it out. It was a tough road.
Who was that guy? Who was that guy?
Sorry?
What was the name of this person?
I've forgotten. I stayed there for 10 years, and I ended up with a network that was bigger even than the boss, because my network was built on the better portions of human nature, not the worst. If someone was in the hospital, I'd send them a card. Someone had a parent pass away, they'd get a mass card from me with $20 in it. At the end of all of this, the head of the union came to me. They said, you know, we're finally figuring out what you're doing. He said, and we're sorry that we didn't start helping you sooner. Because they realized that the end was near. And whatever would be saved probably would only be saved by me. And that was quite a revelation. I had one, I call her my secretary. She used to put up the bonding table. And I got her to the point where she was carrying out 3/4 horse electric motors. She said, please, no more of them. She said, they barely survived stairs. And they were a good bunch, really. One of the questions that I'm often asked is, who were treated worse? The customers or the employees? And to this day, I can't really give you a definitive answer. I have awful stories about a lot of it. Any other questions?
Do you really have an unexpurgated version?
No, because the fact that certain laws about profanity and pornography, I had to produce a sanitary version taken from my diaries. He got the best material, I think, from what was available. There's some things I'll never talk about. It was quite an experience. We're good? Thank you.